Hi guys, welcome back to Cruise Blog. I'm going to be sharing with you why I prefer cruising over all-inclusive resorts. Many people seem to either be cruise lovers or loyal to all-inclusive resorts. Both vacation options offer convenient and relaxing getaways, although the two are very different. As someone who is a cruise lover myself, I had the opportunity recently to experience my very first all-inclusive resort. I was excited to see what the all-inclusive experience would be like. We both agreed to keep an open mind, but it was really hard not to draw comparisons. I've met a lot of people who consistently prefer to vacation at all-inclusive resorts, and they seemingly love their experiences. With so much hype, I had really high hopes for our stay at this 5-star resort. Our resort had reviews and pictures that depicted a luxurious island oasis with picturesque pools, stunning beaches, spacious suites, specialty restaurants, and of course, unlimited drinks. In fact, I was a little worried that I would love the all-inclusive resort life so much that it would make me rethink my love of cruising. Other all-inclusive fans even told us on the shuttle transfer, "You'll never go back to cruising after your time at one of these resorts." But they were very wrong. If anything, this experience reaffirmed everything I love about cruising. You won't see me again at an all-inclusive resort anytime soon, if ever. So here's an overview of all the reasons I will continue cruising. And first, I'll go over the food and dining differences. So first, the food at an all-inclusive resort is very similar to cruising, with multiple dining options that include buffets and on-site restaurants. Our resort had one main buffet with a snack bar nearby that was available throughout the day. A French and Brazilian restaurant were also located on the property. Both of these restaurants were available for us to book, and they were included in the cost of the all-inclusive fare. Upon arrival, though, we weren't able to get a dining reservation until our last night of the 4-night stay. So that meant that we had to eat at the buffet for dinner without any other options. In comparison, cruises will always give you the option of eating at the buffet or the main dining room each night. In addition, most ships have other dining options available, so you truly aren't left with just one option. I asked if we could dine during lunch so we could at least try the restaurants, because I've done this on cruises many times, dining at a specialty restaurant during lunch, and that wasn't an option either. And then they also clarified that you can't dine at more than one restaurant either. I learned quickly that the quality of food on cruises is really top-notch. We also found that the accessibility is much better on a cruise for what's available and when it's served. I hate to say this, but our all-inclusive food was mediocre at best. A few times, we were even a little sketched out by some of the options, although we never really got sick. Even the drinks, which were unlimited at the resort, were much lower quality than what we receive on cruises. On our last night, we dined in the Brazilian steakhouse, and I was really anxious to see how this compared with a recent experience at Samba Grill on Radiance of the Seas, which is also a specialty Brazilian steakhouse. The ambiance at the resort was really nice, but we were only allowed to order one entree. When I asked about ordering both a pasta and a meat option, the answer was no. The meal was definitely the best that we had at the resort, although nothing more than what you'd probably get at an Outback steakhouse. In comparison, my cruising experience at a Brazilian grill included 6 courses, each with a Brazilian waiter explaining each course in great detail. He even shared how each course is prepared and enjoyed in his home country. The meats were so tender, delicious, and clearly high quality on the ship. We could eat as much as we wanted at Samba Grill, and we were able to try a variety of options. We were so full at the end of it. We did have to pay $40 each for the Brazilian grill on our cruise, as this was considered a specialty dining option. On the other hand, the Brazilian grill at our resort was included in the cost. I'll break down the total cost comparison later in that video, but I would say that the experience really doesn't even compare. Next, I'll go over the service. After cruising so much in my life, I've come to expect a high level of hospitality when I travel, especially with brands that I'm loyal to. Maybe I'm spoiled, but I've always felt like the crew and staff on board cruise ships go above and beyond to provide exceptional service. Even just walking down the hallways, almost every crew member greets you with a good morning or they ask about your day. They always seem happy, even though we know they work really hard and long days. So I was shocked by the level of service that was provided at the all-inclusive resort, especially when compared to the service we are accustomed to receiving on our cruises. We met a few really great staff members, but this was an anomaly and not standard. Seemed like any time we needed assistance, like booking our dinner reservations, we were almost treated like we were a burden. Most of the servers did the bare minimum by providing water or seating us at a table, but nothing much more than that. If I would ask a question, most of the responses were one-word answers. And I'm sure that staffing issues play into this, but the cruise industry is also struggling with staffing, and we've never noticed a change in service. Perhaps cruise workers rely more heavily on tips and their survey results, and therefore they try a lot harder to provide attentive service. But either way, we just weren't impressed with the service provided at our resort. And according to online reviews, this is something noticed by many guests at the same resort too. Next, I'll compare convenience. When we first arrived at the resort, we were surprised by how far everything was spread out. For some, this is really great because it doesn't feel crammed with people like a busy cruise ship can. But for us, everything felt like it was so far away. Like, for example, anytime we wanted to go to the buffet, from our room, it was almost a mile walk. And not to mention that we were walking in the humid and hot weather. While we were drinking at the pool, if we wanted to go grab a snack, we'd have to pack everything up and make a whole trip to the buffet area. It was almost kind of a buzzkill when we would get the munchies and really want something to eat, but the buffet and the snack bar felt so far away. We really had to commit when going back to our room as well because it was so far from the pools and the buffets. On the other hand, it's so easy to find a snack bar or a poolside cafe that offers a quick little bite to eat on a cruise ship. And on cruises, everything is so conveniently located that you're never far from your cabin or a place to grab food. Whether that's a promenade cafe, the dining room, or the buffet, you can find food within a short walk at any time. With everything being so spread out, this makes resort life also not as accessible for those with mobility issues. For this reason, the demographics skewed towards a much younger crowd at the resort, but that really didn't surprise us. Next, I'll compare the entertainment between cruising and the all-inclusive resort. One of the reasons that cruising is so great is because of the added convenience of everything on board. You never have to look very far for entertainment. Between the cruise compass, announcements from the cruise director, and just stumbling upon events, it's pretty easy to find entertainment throughout the day and night. Even if you walk into a lounge or a bar at night on a cruise ship, there's a good chance that you'll find some live music. Seems like there's always something happening on a cruise ship from sunrise to beyond sunset. We always love to watch the jugglers, musicians, the magicians, the acrobats, the ice skaters, and the Broadway-style musicals. The entertainment is spectacular, and we've never been disappointed. When we were at the all-inclusive resort, we really struggled to find any sort of entertainment, even though it was being advertised as available daily and nightly. With our resort spanning miles down the beach, it was almost overwhelming trying to find any entertainment. There would be a few events at the pool that we saw happening, like water aerobics and tequila tasting, but every night we would grab drinks in the main bar of our resort, and only once was there live music when a piano player came into the lounge for 30 minutes, but that was it. One night we wandered around the other buildings and we saw a theater that looked like it was playing some sort of show. We didn't know how or where to find the times for the show though. We didn't even know if entertainment existed. Next, I'm going to talk about the variety that's offered by cruising that you just don't get at an all-inclusive resort. Waking up every day in a new place is the perfect vacation in my mind. Personally, I get very bored easily, and I appreciate the variety of places I can see when cruising. In one cruise, I can see multiple countries and cultures without even having to unpack my suitcase. And while not everyone likes to travel this way, it really fits my travel style of wanting to see as much as possible with my vacation time. So for example, it felt like 12 days flew by on our recent European cruise because we were seeing something new every day. In all honesty, I was ready to go home from Mexico after 4 days at the all-inclusive resort. There's only so much beaching, drinking, and pooling that I can do before I'm ready for a change of scenery. We even did an excursion to Tulum, but even still, I was ready to head home by the time we checked out. But for all-inclusive fans, I can totally see how these resorts are super relaxing. With your days spent at the pool or just beaching, it's very easy to feel rejuvenated quickly and not need as much time away. But personally, I want to see multiple places or countries when I travel and when I'm taking that time off work. So you might be wondering if we liked anything at all at the all-inclusive resort. And there are a few things that we did like, so I'll go through those next. Because this was our first time at an all-inclusive resort, it was really hard to know what to expect. I've traveled all over the world, both on and off a cruise ship, and I was excited to see what the hype was all about with all-inclusive resorts. Even though this experience did convince me that I am forever a cruiser, there were aspects that we did like about the resort life compared to cruising. So to start, our room was huge compared to what you would get on a cruise ship. Even though we booked the cheapest room, our junior suite came with a king bed, large closet, a desk, and 2 large couches. The bathroom was spacious as well, with a bathtub, a shower, and dual sinks. We also had a small balcony, although we didn't have a great view, so we really didn't spend any time out there. But this is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make because of the convenience of cruising. In all honesty, we don't spend that much time in our cabin, mostly because we're enjoying the ship or exploring the ports. The beach at our resort was also gorgeous, and the pools were super nice as well. We found a really nice adults-only pool where we spent 2 of our afternoons. It was only $20 to rent a daybed, which we did like having on our last day. I kind of wish the cruise lines would do this because some of the chair hogs get excessive, and I would easily pay $20 to have access to a daybed all day on the pool deck. And finally, I'm going to go over the cost comparison between cruising and all-inclusive resorting. It's difficult to truly compare apples to apples, though, when it comes to the cost because cruising normally doesn't include your gratuities or unlimited drinks. Additionally, my husband and I each get 5 free drinks a day when we cruise with Royal Caribbean because of their Crown and Anchor loyalty perks. Therefore, we don't normally get a beverage package anyway, and this saves us hundreds of dollars. We certainly drank more at the resort, though, because we knew the drinks were unlimited. On a cruise, we normally drink our 5 free drinks a day, and then we pay individually for drinks beyond that when we want more. So for cost comparison, my sister and I did a 4-night Royal Caribbean cruise back in April. This was $500 for 2 people, so only $250 per person for the 4 days. Had we added unlimited drinks to our cruise, it would have been $60 per person per day. This would have taken the cost to right around $500 per person. Gratuities are $14.50 each day on a cruise, bringing the total cost of that cruise to $558. On the other hand, 4 nights at the all-inclusive resort was $750 per person, and this included drinks, food, and gratuities. But this is almost $200 more per person than a similar experience, and I would argue better experience on a cruise ship. And at the end of the day, cruising is typically cheaper than all-inclusive resorts anyway. And we visited this resort during the off-season, so the cost difference could be even more depending on when you choose to go to a resort. The incredible value that you get from cruising is just one of the reasons that we love it so much and why I will continue cruising in the future. Are you a cruiser or are you an all-inclusive lover? Comment below your reasons and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks everyone and happy cruising!